You are watching an ORACLOUD Plus Training as a Service video snippet. Snippets are concise, targeted tutorials explaining how to use, configure, integrate, deploy, and support Oracle's Fusion Cloud applications. Snippets are delivered via FAST, the Fusion Application Support Tool. FAST is accessible via the web at www.oracloud.plus. No more watching hours of learning path style videos to get to the 5-minute snippet you need. Learn Oracle's Fusion Cloud applications in minutes, not hours. Hello, and welcome to Legacy Wrappers for Procurement. This video is intended for procurement organizations looking to increase the functionality of their legacy applications. It explains how organizations can accelerate the value of their legacy applications and begin their finance ERP transformations in manageable, relatively lower risk increments. This video snippet, as with all OCP video snippets, can be found within FAST, our Fusion Application Support Tool. Within FAST, go to the Procurement Cloud Training Group, the Intro to Procurement Cloud Training Center, and look under the Integrate menu option. To request access to FAST, email your name and contact information to access@oracloud.plus. Please remember to put FAST access request in the email title. Okay, so here are the key topics for this presentation. What is a legacy wrapper? Procurement legacy wrappers, legacy P2P functionality, Fusion sourcing functionality, and finally, wrapping Fusion sourcing functionality around legacy P2P. So what is a legacy wrapper? Well, it's not LL Cool J or Run DMC. Legacy wrappers are Oracle Fusion Cloud to legacy integrations. They're using Fusion to extend legacy application capabilities, deploying one or more Fusion applications, initiating finance modernization efforts, and doing so in manageable deployments with relatively lower risk. So here are procurement legacy wrappers. They're divided into 4 components: the supplier wrapper, which is contained around supplier management, so profiles, contacts, supplier registration, and also supplier qualifications, which can include initiatives and assessments. There's the negotiations wrapper, which is largely sourcing, so take again, because you'll need the suppliers. So that's profiles, contacts, registration, obviously qualifications. Then deploying sourcing and programs, as well as the related deliverables. Similar, but slightly different to that, is the contracts wrap. So again, with the suppliers, minus the qualifications, they're not directly related to the contracts as they are with sourcing events. And then deploying contracts and deliverables. And then finally, there's the sourcing services wrap, which we'll talk about a little bit more in detail. And that's kind of the full Monty, if you will. It's the suppliers, so contacts, profiles, registration, internal, external. It's supplier qualifications to include initiatives and assessments, sourcing and programs, contracts, so that's pre-purchase contracts, purchase contracts, SOWs, etc. And then finally, the deliverables that are related to those contracts to manage compliance. So let's take a quick look at legacy PO and FIN functionality. I'm picking on PeopleSoft, but it could be any legacy application. And so requesters purchase using pre-negotiated content or catalogs. They submit those for approval. Approvers approve. Catalog orders are auto-generated, usually into POs. Buyers ship, so requesters or docs receive the shipments. And finally, invoices and payments are made. So that's considered the P2P or procure to pay cycle. Lots of different names, but let's call it P2P for now. Next, Fusion sourcing functionality. So once again, out of the legacy applications, requesters search for items. However, those items are not found. So then those requisitions will dip into Fusion to leverage the sourcing capabilities of cloud. And so as you can imagine, sourcing is more than just a sourcing event or negotiation. So you have supplier registration, which will include the profiles, the contact management, the qualifications as discussed before. You have non-financial or pre-purchase contracts, NDAs, MSAs, etc. Buyers that will source, also referred to as negotiations. Contract admins that will produce purchase contracts or SOWs if you're talking services. Then buyers may come back into the legacy application to enable catalogs, as well as create orders. So that's the Fusion sourcing functionality. And then here's a diagram of kind of how you would wrap, or we do wrap, the Fusion sourcing functionality around the legacy P2P. So the lighter blue are the legacy applications where you will request have suppliers items. If we're in PeopleSoft, we use procurement contracts as a way to enforce compliance on paper contract documents. Then we also have purchase orders, invoices, and payments. And so there's usually a mixture of offline or purpose-built applications to perform what is now in Fusion and being wrapped around the legacy P2P functions. And so you can see those in dark green under Fusion Cloud App Wraps. So they're the suppliers, the quals, the assessments, the contracts, so non-disclosure, master, or regular contracts. The buyer workbench is where you can onboard the requisitions from your legacy app into Fusion, where you can then go through sourcing. You can run compliance deliverables from both sourcing and contracts. Sourcing can be contracts can have output into agreements and or purchase orders. And that's the flow from P2P, but with wrapped around or contained within the sourcing function within Fusion. Okay, so you're ready for the next video. Well, do you understand what a legacy wrapper is? And perhaps it's not. How cloud applications can be wrapped around legacy applications to extend their capabilities? If the answer is no, then either watch again or feel free to reach out to me directly. You can see here on the left, that's my email address, and I'm always available to answer questions. If the answer is yes, great, then maybe you want to watch more video. So you can go to our playlist out on YouTube by going to YouTube and searching on ORACLOUD Plus Inc. Or you can go from our website to the tool we call FAST, the Fusion Application Support Tool, and you can access the full catalog of our Learn, Use, Configure, Integrate, Deploy, and Support videos online. So that's it for this tutorial. We hope you found it informative and keep watching.